That's my joke. Cancun, Fort Lauderdale, 10, 11, 13, 52.
$39.01 West Linda Vista Boulevard is where we're brought here for week 5 of high school football. We have the Cienega Bobcats visiting here to the Mountain View Mountain Lions. Captains for tonight's game for the Mountain View Mountain Lions, we have Varney Larson, number 11 Khalid McRae, number 13 Isaiah Sparkman, and number 52 Julio Torres.
And for Cienega Bobcats, Diego Rivas, number 1, the senior tight end linebacker. Number 15, Luis Morales Jr., the senior quarterback and safety. And number 45, Anthony Williams, the fullback defensive end, another senior. 3 seniors tonight for the Bobcats as captains.
And for the second consecutive week, Cienega meets a team that is going in a different direction as they are. Last week we saw it against Rincon University. Now they're here against the Mountain View Mountain Lions, who are off to their worst start since 2009. They're 0-4. They have played 4 good teams, and we'll see what they could do here against the Cats.
Yeah, good point. 4 difficult teams at Castile, losing 56-0 in week 1, losing to Ironwood Ridge 42-14 here at home. Higley at home, a 39-14 loss. And then last week, 19-14 to Tucson High. Tucson High off to a surprising 4-0 start in their own right. But you're right, so Mountain View has played a very difficult schedule. Yes, they're 0-4, but they are a difficult team to face. They've beaten Cienega in the past under Bam McRae, their head coach. So this is a team that is not scared.
So the Mountain Lions make their way out to the field here on homecoming night for them. It's a little bit early, week 5 for a homecoming.
Right. I guess they've been on the road a little bit, so you can have a couple of homecomings over the course of a season. It's a way to energize your fan base, and it's another way to sell some tickets. So they had an inductee to their Hall of Fame before the ceremony here tonight. They have a state-of-the-art scoreboard with all the bells and whistles and a clear as crystal video display, so that's pretty high tech. I'll be curious to see. My guess would be that the referees would be wired into that as well, so I'm hoping that we'll be able to hear their calls on the field as well as the signals that they typically give.
So as we get kickoff ready here, I'm Jacob Greenberg, joined alongside Jason Miller, as we will get Mountain View Mountain Lions in the Cienega Bobcats game broadcasted for you here tonight. Charles Hayward making his way back as he was absent last week. He had a family matter to deal with, and he is here back again.
That sounds like a serious thing. He was at a wedding.
At a wedding.
So he's at a wedding and a wedding reception. I think he had his dancing shoes on last Friday night. So understandable. What the best part about the Bobcats win last week was for me was that it allowed Diego Ruby to truly shine in the spotlight. And Diego Ruby is a complementary player, very similar to Terrell Hayward in terms of size and stature, as well as skill set. So we saw Diego Ruby's kind of coming out party last week with 3 touchdowns, 2 pass receptions for touchdowns, 25 and 29 yards, and a 40-yard punt return. So he, in essence, replicated what Terrell Hayward does on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, and Diego Ruby's a great player, and Patrick Nugent had some words to say about him after the game. He said Ruby is a superstar kid who unfortunately sits behind Terrell Hayward, right, who has been a star for the last 4 years in the program. Ruby at almost any other school would be their star receiver.
And I think that last week, for me, again, so many positives out of last week. Seeing Chris Burrows in the slot position, he scored a touchdown on a 17-yard pass play. Seeing the backup quarterback, Montana, for the Cats. 16, Daniel Montana as a junior, somebody that we know who could step in and make some plays with his arm and with his legs. And then I think defensively, too, they had second and third tier players that stepped in and filled in very capably last week. So the coaching staff very pleased with what they saw from the second and third string last week.
So the Cats will start at the 20. The kickoff goes into the end zone. It's Morales, and we have Beard starting at tailback here for the Cats this week. Ruby goes in motion. Morales gives the handoff to Beard, and Beard, a good stop there from the Mountain Lions.
It's mano a mano. Caleb McRae, the big senior defensive end, 6'1", 219. It was like a tackling drill in practice in the springtime.
Yeah, and
stacking him up and driving him back, and that's the son of Coach Bam McRae, the successful head coach here at Mountain View.
Expect his name a lot tonight.
But I like how Caleb Beard runs the football. He's a senior, very intelligent player, 5'9", 165, averaging 6.5 yards a carry. He's a north-south guy, so no gain on that play, 2nd and 10.
Ruby and Hayward lined up to the right of Morales. Here's Ruby in motion again. And Ruby will take it in motion, goes left side.
Clotheslines.
Ruby grabbed there before he can make a big play. And that will bring up 3rd and 5.
Clean play. Looked like a dangerous kind of a tackle, but it's a clean play by the rules. So nice job there on the defense by the Mountain Lions. And Jacob, I really like the poise that Luis Morales Jr. has at that quarterback position. If he gets time to throw, he will make plays happen.
Morales looking to throw, and it is caught by Hayward for a 1st down and more. Good catch there by Hayward. Looked kind of bobbly there.
Yeah, I think it was tipped. One of the linebackers that was out there in space got his right paw on it, but Hayward able to handle the tip and the deflection, make a nice catch, gain of 9 on 1st down. I bet he's really energized to be back in the lineup after a week off. I'm sure it was difficult for him not to play last Friday night. Cats have nice clean uniforms. I think this is new jerseys that we're seeing here, almost like Penn State, white with navy letters.
They have lots of sets of jerseys.
Right, kind of like Oregon.
Morales running to his right, and we'll see if the pass is complete here.
Yep.
And it is to Terrell Hayward again.
Textbook receiving, out pattern, coming back to the football. Morales rolling to his right. Hayward a sliding catch, great hands.
The Bobcats visitor side packed over there. You see some people standing over on the railings. There's no room in that section. And Morales is the keeper, and he has the Cats at 1st down.
A capable runner, not a prolific runner. He's averaging 2 yards a carry, so more of a scrambler who can throw than somebody who you have to game plan for or scheme for defensively because of his wheels, but moving the sticks forward again on that run.
Now Hayward takes it as he's the one in motion, cuts back to his left, and here he goes. Hayward, nice little cut back there to get some extra room for some more yards.
Yeah, a little dash, a little scamper to the outside, to the sidelines, avoiding a hit, understanding what he has there in front of him. Doesn't have to show any machismo and lower the shoulders. I like that he's able to scamper out of bounds, a gain of 6 on the play. But he's a weapon out there. He's lined up near side here, and he's always a player you've got to keep your eyes on. I like to see him in tandem with Diego Ruby and see if they can both click together on the same night.
And Beard takes the handoff, goes straight into the pile.
Well, Caleb, not your home run kind of running back, not somebody that can break off a touchdown run from anywhere on the field, but a very steady, north-south, consistent runner. Gio Owens would be the guy that can break it, and I don't know if Gio is eligible to play tonight. I know he had some health issues with a bruised chest, I think is the word that we got on Gio Owens.
Morales looking to throw in the pocket, and Diego Ruby was the intended receiver, but in and out of his hands.
That was good coverage there. Brandon DeVoy, the junior cornerback, number 8. Once the ball was in Ruby's hands, he grabbed onto the jersey and pulled him back because Ruby tipped the ball off his hands. With a second effort, you think he would have had a chance to catch that football. Cats, I think, going for it here on 4th and 2.
They're going with a lot of the same looks. Morales steps up, throws, and Hayward has it for a first down. Terrell Hayward getting the Cats their first downs tonight.
Joseph Pena, the senior cornerback on the tackle, but Hayward, a very veteran player, a very heady kid, able to know what he needs to do, a 5-yard pattern, a little button hook, able to make the catch and move the chains forward again for the Cats. And Luis, a very poised, very accurate passer. Doesn't have the strongest arm, but on the short to intermediate routes, he is highly accurate, and he's a quarterback that a coach and an offensive coordinator can build around.
Beard takes the handoff. Beard sheds one tackler for extra yards.
Second and third effort, running low with a low center of gravity, with your shoulder pads facing north and south, heads up. He nearly kept his right hand there to keep his balance, and he had a chance of breaking that for even more, but a great second and third effort there from Caleb Beard, a very workmanlike running back, a player that coaches love and linemen would love blocking for because they know he's going to move forward at all times.
Brings up 2nd and 2 on the 32-yard line for the Cats.
Tight formation. We have not seen this yet tonight. 2 tight end set.
And Morales fakes the handoff to Hayward and keeps it for himself. Morales gets the Cats a first down there.
This is a very methodical drive here from the Cats. They're eating clock. They're poised. They're patient. They're not going for big plays, although they're in the range now at the 25-yard line where you could take a shot at the end zone. And Luis has that kind of arm. He could hit the end zone here on a pass. Two tight end set again with 2 wideouts near side.
And Morales keeps it again.
Number 22, Kai Walsh, the junior linebacker, 5'11", 190 on the tackle. But I like what Sienaga's doing here. They're just taking what the defense gives them, and they're using Terrell Hayward a little bit like a decoy. Fake the handoff to Hayward coming in motion. They like to run that little jet sweep from time to time, and then the quarterback just right up the middle.
Beard on the handoff, gets through a hole, and finally tackled.
Well, that was a beautiful hole there on the left side. So 55, Andrew Husfeldt at left tackle, and the left guard, I think, is DiMaggio Streve. Those two guys blew up in a nice hole, and I think it was Diego Ruby as the lead blocker there coming in motion. So you had Ruby as a lead, almost like a fullback, and then Caleb Beard had a hole about 3 yards wide to go through.
The ball is on the 10-yard line. And Morales keeps it. Maybe a yard or two on that one. It's probably hard to see on your screen, but we could see from out here why Mountain View is called Mountain View. Plenty of mountains out there.
Yeah, right. A beautiful vista out here in Marana, the northwest part of Tucson. Actually, at left tackle, it's Andrew Husfeldt. The left guard is Tyron McKinney, number 57, 5'11", 245. So McKinney getting the start here tonight at left guard, doing a capable job there at the left guard position.
And both of those will be on the team next year. Beard gets the handoff. Good stop there by Mountain View.
So 3rd and goal from the 8-yard line. This is territory here where you can go in different levels or different tiers, where you have receivers coming out of the backfield on short patterns or flares. You have your receivers that could do little short outs or crosses, and then you also have the option to go to the intermediate route to one of the corners of the end zone. Hayward, far side, number 7, a player to watch out for. Ruby on the slot, also on the far side, another player to look out for as well. We've got a timeout now being taken here by Cienega. So I like the timeout. It gives them a chance to draw up a play that they are comfortable with. And you want to make sure that these kids coming out of the huddle know exactly what their routes or responsibilities are coming through here. The Cats also had number 8, Zach Mattis, lined up as a tight end. So very athletic player, hyper athletic, defensive end / linebacker hybrid. And now seeing him on the offensive side of the ball, maybe a player to look out for at the tight end position.
Let's go ahead here and talk about Mountain View. They're 0-4, like I said. This is their worst start since 2009. And they're usually a winning team. They're 80-73 since 2004. But they're 1-6 all time when they make the playoffs. Their head coach is Bam McRae. He's been the coach since 2014, or maybe before that. There used to be a Clarence McRae.
Right.
Give your take on that.
Well, we're not sure, right? And Clarence could be Bam, right? And so it could be one and the same person, or maybe it was his dad or another relative, so or his brother. Who knows?
So we're just going to say Bam McRae here. He's been coaching since 2014. He went 6-4 in 2014. Here's Morales here. Running to his left, and pass is incomplete there. It was a little low for Hayward.
Yep, no chance on that. Hayward doing a simple out pattern, about a 10-yard out. Luis rolling to his left, and that's going to set up a field goal opportunity here for Ezra Figueroa. And it looks like it's going to be about a 25-yard field goal attempt. Let's see. That's where Luis Morales is setting up. Right at the 15, so 25-yard field goal attempt, well within Ezra's range.
Ooh, flag on the play. It looked like Mountain View went early.
Flag on the field.
All right, so offsides will move it closer here to the 3-yard line. I don't think that changes the play calling calculus here. I think the Cats still got to go for the field goal.
And Figueroa gives the Cats the lead on the field goal. 3-0. Cats take the early lead. 4:33 left to go in the first.
So a 20-yard field goal there for Ezra. Solid as a rock as a kicker. The Cienega Bobcats, I know I've said this many times, they have had a string of kickers who are absolutely superlative. Jason Cox will be the first one in my recollection. Robert Griffith was another great kicker. Then you had Jeremy Meeker-Hackett, actually Jacob Meeker-Hackett. I get those twins confused. Jacob Meeker-Hackett as a kicker, and then now Ezra Figueroa. And then PJ Coco, the backup kicker, is also very accomplished. So nice to get 3 points on the board. You're on the road. You had a nice drive. You ate 7.5 minutes off the clock here in the first quarter. So if you're Pat Nugent and Cienega High School, you are very comfortable with the way that this game has started so far.
Here's Figueroa back on for the kickoff.
And that red zone attack was brought to you by Pyramid Federal Credit Union.
Figueroa's kickoff is into the end zone, and it will start the Mountain View Mountain Lions at the 20, and we'll see what their offense looks like.
That's a beautiful kickoff there from Ezra. He has just enough leg to get it into the end zone. There's a very light breeze blowing from right to left looking at your screen, so into a very slight headwind, but able to put it into the end zone for a touchback. That is a huge weapon for special teams, and Jeff Bull now taking over as a special teams coach after longtime tremendous special teams coach Brett Hawley stepping away from the game. I think he's going to focus on his family. Been a coach for a long, long time, so good to see Ezra there with the leg strength. Steve Schween on weights too, helping him out with that leg strength.
Yeah. So the starting quarterback here for the Mountain Lions is number 12, Hayden Parson. Parson goes with the handoff. So Hayden Parson has gotten off to a little bit of a shaky start. He's thrown 9 interceptions in 4 games, which is a lot, and you're going here up against this good Cienega secondary, good Cienega defense overall, and you got to be careful with those throws.
Yep, 46% completion percentage, which is not good. 3 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, as you mentioned. That's a -3 ratio from touchdowns to interceptions, and his quarterback rating of 43.3. So to say he's gone off to a bad start is an understatement.
It's very tall, 6'4".
And Mountain View will do some bunch formations where they kind of run like a double wing T formation with 2 tight ends and then 2 almost like fullbacks off of the tight ends behind them. So they'll try to run some power football. Any passing routes they like to run come from like the inside going out. So they'll take their big receivers. McRae, number 11, is one of them. Caleb McRae. Also number 10, Varney Larson, is the other weapon that they like to target in the passing game. 3rd and short.
They need 4 yards here. Parsons hit as he throws, and it is incomplete. Zach Mattis almost bring it in for an interception.
Yep, and he's rolling his head toward the heavens here, thinking that he could have had that, and he had clear real estate from about the 30-yard line all the way to the end zone. Great pressure there from DiMaggio Streve, who has excelled on the defensive line. He's done a great job here as a pass-rushing hybrid linebacker defensive end.
I think it's Parsons in there to punt as well. 4th and 4. The danger is Hayward to receive the punt. And this one takes a bounce to Hayward. Hayward's going to bring it in and try and run it. Hayward, nice cut back there. And Hayward making the decision to bring it in gives him some extra yards there.
Yeah, waited to the last second. The ball bounced a couple of times. The first kid that was there in coverage flew past him, and he decided to field that one on the fly. Picked up 8 yards in the punt return. Nice little gain there from Hayward. But I love those uniforms. The white jersey, the white helmets, the navy pants. Very clean, very Penn State-esque.
Cats will begin their drive at the 36. Silva in there as a runner. And it's Hayward. Takes it. Tries to have a side tackle. Short.
Kai Walsh again from that inside linebacker position on the tap. Right. And that was a low snaps there too to Luis Morales. Able to take that line from his ankles and get the handoff properly placed in Terrell Hayward's red basket.
Now it's Ruby's turn to do the same play, but to the other side. And about a similar result there.
Yeah, and Ruby at 5'11", 160. You have Hayward at 5'10", 165. Very comparable in size. We saw last week Diego Ruby, a one-handed Odell Beckham Jr.-esque catch with his left hand that he turned into a big game. So he's able to flash his athleticism as well. And I really do like to see those 2 players being mixed in interchangeably.
Really able to show what he could do last week. 3 receptions for 65 yards, 3 punt returns for 77 yards. We have to remember, 3 receptions doesn't seem like a lot. Morales only threw the ball 11 times and completed 10 out of 11 passes.
High accuracy.
And same play, but this time Morales keeps it. They're all having turns on this play.
He's close. I think he has the first down. So he just knifed his way forward. He needed about a yard to get the first. And indeed, the chains move forward here. Luis is a gamer, man. I'm telling you. When you look at his stats and when you look at what he's able to do out there on the field, he's completing at a very high percentage at 64%. 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. The quarterback rating of 141. Very nice.
Morales. Oh, the pass was intended for Sergio Torres. Incomplete to him, but it kind of when he went off his body and went up. Chance for an interception.
Yeah, it skipped. It looked like he let that ball get a little bit in on his chest, and there was high velocity there. Luis put a lot of zip on that football, but I think Sergio's got to catch that ball. I think that's a pass play that he would say that he should catch.
Hayward as a runner here stopped up short for a loss.
Marco Galindo coming in from the linebacker position, coming up there with some nice vocal claps in the ear holes of Terrell Hayward's helmet, just to let him know that he's there. I don't know if that's quite necessary, but I do like the enthusiasm.
Brings up 3rd and 12 for the Cats. Going for the same look here. Ethan White, the receiver closest to us. And here is Morales' pass incomplete. Let's see who the receiver was. Is that Ruby?
Yeah, so screenplay there going left side, and I think Luis has to be a little bit more patient with that football. He was fortunate that that ball was not intercepted. There were 4 black jerseys surrounding Diego Ruby, so a well-designed play, but maybe you let that play develop a little bit longer before you get rid of the football.
Matt Slattery is in there as a punter. No Thomas Webb again here tonight.
Right, Thomas Webb, Stinger, out last week, out this week, getting some improved range of motion and strength in his, particularly his left hand. Bad low snap there. Oh, come on. How is that?
Wow, so Matt Slattery, low snap there it looked like, had to go down on his kneel to receive it, and the referees called it down. So that's a turnover on downs for the Cats.
Well, I'd love to see a replay of that. It was a low snap. He crouched to get the football, which was very low, and that was a problem at Centennial in particular 2 weeks ago. So there were, I think, 5 errant low snaps. A bad snap is one thing. The higher snap you can adjust to, and you can kind of climb to catch it. A low snap, much harder for a player to get it, especially our punter, who is a pretty tall kid, right, at 6'170", Matthias Slattery. So I guess they're saying his knee touched onto the turf. I didn't see it, but maybe I missed it, Jacob. It's quite possible.
And here's Parsons to throw.
Fumble. There's a fumble. It's loose.
And there's Chris Burrows right on top of it.
And Burrows comes up with it.
There are flags on the play.
And whistles aplenty.
So both teams heading back to their sidelines, so it looks like it might be Cats' ball.
Let's see what the penalty is here. So offsetting penalties, so they're neutralized. It'll be a turnover here. And you called it. Chris Burrows out there at the safety position. The kid is a scrapper.
Yes.
He's 5'9", 135. And he is not afraid to mix it up. We saw him 2 weeks ago, or it was last week. It was, or 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago against Sunny Slope, he had a recovery on a kickoff. It wasn't an onside kick. It was a deeper kickoff against Sunny Slope, and he recovered the football at about the opponent's 40-yard line. He just elevated and caught it. So here's a kid in the last 3 to 4 weeks that we've seen in different ways, as a receiver, as a safety, as a special teams hustle player, making big plays here. There's a fumble recovery. Quarterback loosey-goosey with the football, just holding it out very awkwardly. Not surprised it was stripped.
Looks like Hayward is in there as quarterback, and he'll be in there just to keep it. And they stopped there by the mountain line, just 2 yards for the Cats.
And that's the end of the first quarter.
So that's usually what Thomas Webb would do, go in there as a quarterback and run it.
So Webb, I talked to Thomas's mother, Claudette, this morning, around 7:55, walking into Skinniga High School, and I asked her how's Thomas doing, and she said he's doing better. She's exploring alternative medicine. So my first impulse was acupuncture, And she said yes. So acupuncture is part of the menu here. Also deep tissue massage. I think he has a massage appointment scheduled for tomorrow. So that is designed to get the feeling, the nerves to kind of recalibrate and reconnect with the brain and the central nervous system. And he's getting, the problem for Thomas is primarily with his left hand, his left arm. So he cannot extend his left arm and hold it out there for more than 3 or 4 seconds. It starts to sink towards his feet automatically. So it drifts. So he's a very strong kid, very tough kid. So I think he went in for a tackle against Centennial, and he struck awkwardly. His neck slid to the right, and then the damage for him is primarily affecting the left side of his body. So the left hemisphere of Thomas, and he's getting more feeling, he's getting more strength back, and he's hoping that next week, when the Cats take on Sunnyside at home, that he will be able to reemerge. But the big thing for him is big picture, long term. He needs to be healthy for this team to have a chance of making a run of the playoffs.
Cats will start at 37. 2nd and 8.
I like that play.
And Ruby here. I didn't see that play though. I was looking at the scoreboard.
Yep. So it was Hayward on the wide receiver sweep coming near side or far side, and then he handed the ball off to Ruby coming to the near side on a wide receiver reverse. The only problem was running laterally. Looks like Mountain View's defenders have some nice quickness to be able to cover the field from sideline to sideline. So they had 3 guys right there in space to be able to make the play, no gain.
So it's actually a loss of 2 on that play. It brings up 3rd and 10. Receivers, options for Morales. Morales steps up, throws, and pass is deflected by one of the Mountain Lions up front.
It's Kai Walsh. Kai Walsh at the middle linebacker position. 5'11", 190, pretty good size there, at least in terms of height. And he elevated with both hands like a volleyball player at the net with the block. So Luis, I thought he was pump faking there, but he was going into his throwing motion. He was looking for a target in the intermediate range near the marker.
It is going to bring up 4th and 10. Rivas is in there. Here comes Matt Slattery.
He might get an earful tomorrow morning when they watch film. What were you thinking? Let's watch the snap. Nice, right on the money.
Ooh, good punt there from Matt Slattery. Ooh, that one hits off Nico.
No call there, so he's going to down it at the 1 yard line.
Yep.
Wow, at the inch line. Pretty brazen there.
So good punt there. Matt Slattery's been getting some. Cienega has no real kicker for next year, so I heard Matt Slattery talking to him today saying he's getting some time at the JV level as a kicker so that he can be a punter and kicker next year.
Oh, nice. Dual threat. Well, so the refs got it right. So you called it too. You were able to see it up here. That Elijah Amico, the ball nicked off of, it looked like his right leg. So where it strikes the kid in coverage on the punt, that's where the ball is spotted. So it's at the 27-yard line.
I'm sure that makes the defensive line a little unhappy there. They're ready to get a safety.
And the punter, his yard per punt average went down to 37 yards on that one instead of the 60-yard punt that it looked like it was going to be.
And it's Barney Larson, the intended receiver, out of the backfield. Incomplete.
I think for the Cats, I think Tristan Bushy was out there as a long snapper, and he delivered that one right to the hands of our punter.
Carson, fake handoff, gets off the throw here to 11 McRae. And McRae, I'm sure, is a struggle to get down. Tackle there out of bounds.
Sebastian Felix, the sophomore, on the tackle. And he threw McRae out of bounds. So close there. You want to be careful not to get an unsportsmanlike call with an unnecessary toss with a player out of bounds. I do like this public address announcer. I might be in my own category. Colorful.
And Andrew Husfeld there on the stop.
And the Bobcat defense swarming tonight. Those linebackers are all over the place. The defensive line getting good pressure. And the Cats here have a chance to get some excellent field position after this punt.
Parsons the punt. This is a fair catch for Hayward, and it puts them at the 37 yards.
35 yards on the punt. I've said this scores of times, but for me, Terrell Hayward, so versatile. One of his best attributes is his ability to fair catch a punt. That is such a skill that is so useful. The more pressure-packed the game, the tighter the game is, the more that skill set is valuable.
And it seems like his decisions to either fair catch it or take it are always on point.
Always.
Williams in the backfield, along with Terrell Hayward. Morales, quick throw to Ruby, and complete to Ruby.
Jacob, I want to highlight that offensive line. So Andrew Husfeld at left tackle. The left guard is Tyree McKinney. Daniel Hernandez, the center, is the senior, number 66. Rodobert Quintero, 6'1", 230 at right guard. And Darian Torres, 6'3", 280 at right tackle tonight for the Cats.
That's a good line. Morales. And stopped there by the Mountain Lions.
Very physical defensive line here. These tacklers from Mountain View are finishing their tackles. And I think this is a team at 0-4 knows exactly how desperate tonight's game is. They have to win tonight's game, I think, to give themselves a great shot at going to the postseason. The rest of their schedule, starting next week, they should run the table and go 5-0 in these last 5 weeks of their regular season. But I think they have to win tonight to give themselves a chance to go 6-4. 6 wins gets you in. 5 wins, difficult. Usually outside looking in.
These next 5 weeks, Mountain View plays Troya at Troya next week. Here's Morales to throw, and it is complete to Ruby, who rushes through some tacklers there. First down there for the Cats. They play Empire at home, Rincon at home, at Desert View, and then at Point Lone. Those are all winnable games.
Oh yeah, for sure. Great catch by Ruby, 12 yards on the pickup. In traffic, able to extend his hands, secure the catch, hold on to the football after the catch.
Diego Ruby says he wants 12 touchdowns this season.
Is he at 4 right now?
Oh, here's
beautiful.
Terrell Hayward.
Beautiful run there.
Had some space and finally gets tripped up there. Big run there from Terrell Hayward.
Looks like it was 25 yards on the pickup. And the nicest highlight from that for me was him hurdling through space at full speed in traffic. So there's that burst of speed from Terrell Hayward.
So first and 10 from the 17-yard line, 7:20 to go in the second. And here is Hayward again, who takes it left side.
Yep.
Terrell Hayward, all he sees is the end zone. Touchdown, catch, Terrell Hayward on the run.
17 yards. There's that speed. Gets a nice lift up there from Andrew Husfeldt. And he celebrates there with Sergio Torres also, fellow senior.
Player of that drive, Terrell Hayward. We're on here to attempt the extra point. It is good. 10-0. Cats lead. Ezra Figueroa field goal. Terrell Hayward touchdown run. Makes it 10-0. Cats lead.
And that touchdown brought to you by Steamy Concepts. Don't get steamed, call Steamy for all of your carpet cleaning needs. Well, I think the Cats have their swagger back a little bit. We saw in week 3 at Centennial, and we know Centennial is the dominant powerhouse in Arizona in 5A. So they hung with Centennial for the entire first quarter, the entire first half, really. It was 15-0 at halftime, but 8-0 for the longest time, and then Centennial separated in the second half. Again, it was their offensive line and their defensive line. Massive, about 50 or 60 pounds weight advantage at each position on the offensive and defensive line, and that line just wore down Cienega over time.
They had a much-needed kind of confidence-building game last week against Ringham. 56 points against them, to help them get ready for games like tonight.
And I think last week was fun for them. It seems like such a chore for these kids with so much pressure to come out on a week-to-week basis and be expected to just win games. I think the fan base is maybe a little bit out of touch and doesn't understand how difficult it is on a perennial basis to be one of the top teams in Southern Arizona, one of the top teams arguably in the state. So I think last week was fun for those kids. And I think the starters enjoyed watching the second and third team kids go out there and make plays. They were very supportive on the sideline last week. I think it really carried into this week's game.
So here the Mountain Lions go again on the offensive drive. And it is Parsons here on the fake. Parsons, good run there. 10 and looks like 11, 12, 13 yards there. Hayden Parsons. That was a good fake there.
Very nice fake. And Frank Anaya, or Francisco Anaya III on the tackle, out there at safety. I also like that the Cats are substituting players in at the skill positions in the defensive backfield and also at wide receiver.
Parsons to throw, has his receiver on the left sideline. Tackle there made by Josiah Ware.
Josiah Ware, a suplex there. Looks like a WWE wrestling move, or Glow, if you watch that show on Netflix. Wrapped him up high, and suplexed him over his shoulder. Nice tackle, physical tackle.
And here's number 10 on the screenplay. It is number 10, Barney Larson.
Nice tackle by Frank Anaya out in space. Didn't go for any of those moves there from Barney Larson. Just zeroed in, wrapped at the ankles, and held on to make the tackle.
I know Chris Burrows is a scrappy player on that play. They had man-to-man coverage on that play. They had Cleveland Gray, who's a lot bigger, on him, and they could have looked for him on that one.
Yep, we'll see if they go back to that on this play.
Parsons a throw, and it is over the head of 17, Donovan Johnson. So throws like that is what gets you that 46%.
Johnson, a tall target. He looks about 6'3". He's not listed on our roster. His size, his height, and weight is not listed, but he looks about 6'2", 6'3". Tall target there, and that ball just sailed over his head on the throw. And in fairness to Hayden Parson, he has not had a lot of time to throw back in the pocket. Nearly blocked. Lane Baldwin there, very close. Cats have to be careful there.
Pick it up. Hayward down the right sideline. Terrell Hayward gets a good return there. That one looked like it was going to be stopped immediately, but again, Hayward makes the decision to pick it up.
Cluster of players there on the far sideline. Probably a lot of jawing going on there after that play was made. Ethan White's got to be careful. He was back there in punt coverage and did not know where that football was. He was in danger of having the ball skip off of him. But Hayward again making the decision, and he gained, I think it was 12 yards on that punt return. So rather than let it continue to roll and get down, he decided to pick it up and run with it in traffic.
And here's Rivas, who has the catch over the middle. Diego Rivas, I guess, as a tight end, goes straight over the middle. And that's a good play there.
22 yards, a little seam route there on the far hash. Again, elevating and concentration to make the catch and to hang on to it as he hit the turf. Luis Morales Jr. very comfortable throwing the ball in the center of the field. In traffic, again, very precise with his targeting.
They might have to go through that play again. Diego Rivas will be a lot bigger than the coverage he's getting.
Should have been offside there going against the defensive line.
Morales steps up and throws. It's a long one. Diego Ruby, oh, almost in and out of the hands of Ruby, and that is on Ruby's part. That was a great throw by Morales.
Well, Diego, he wants 12 touchdowns. That's one that he should have had. It would have been a 34-yard catch and run. As soon as he would have secured that, he could have skipped his way into the end zone. So he knew instantly that that's one he should have held on to. We've got the Hamburglers down there, Jacob. Kent. I don't know if we can get a shot of these cats here maybe after this play, but it looks like the color guard from Mountain View dressed up as Hamburglers. Not right now after the play.
Cats on 2nd and 10. Second Force in motion. Morales feeling heavy pressure. Avoids it. And, oh, pass there almost intercepted by Donovan Johnson. Intended to receiver Rivas.
Well, Luis Morales Jr. is comfortable in the pocket. He's got those feet moving around constantly as he's scanning downfield for a target. Felt the pressure, rolled to his right, but he locked in there. It looked like he was locked into Diego Rivas and nearly intercepted there by the cornerback, Donovan Johnson.
The warm-up that the quarterback should go through is a lot of footwork stuff, and that's good. It plays to Morales' strengths. They need 10 yards here. Morales doesn't find the route.
Nice.
Himself, and it looks like, we'll see if it's a first down or not here.
It's close. Quarterback draw was a design play there. He used the umpire in the center of the field as almost a pick and able to lunge forward just enough to get the nose of the football across the first down marker. Smart play. We'll see if the Cats go back to the run here. They've been a little bit pass reliant in the second quarter, gotten away from the balance that they like to try to strive for in their offensive attack.
Good decision there by Morales to take it himself. Morales here looks to his left side, and it is Terrell Hayward who's the intended receiver, but good coverage there to break up the pass. Tipped it up into the air. I thought Hayward was going to come back down with that.
Yeah, the ball was jostled around there. Brandon DeVoy, the junior, at safety right there in coverage. Hayward had the ball in his hands momentarily, but that touched about 6 hands among the two teams.
outside to Rivas. And Rivas a first down and more as he's breaking down, as he's tackled down outside of bounds.
And he may have been slung past that first down marker. So it was a strong physical tackle there by the left corner. But I think he propelled, well, it was very close to propelling Rivas to a first down. 3rd and short. 4 minutes on the clock in the second quarter.
3rd and 2 on the 15. And we go back to the right here. It's Beard.
Very close. First down. Set up a 1st and goal here from about the 6-yard line. That right side of the line, Quintero, Rodabear Quintero at right guard, Darian Torres at right tackle. Those guys are plowing nice lanes for the running backs to slash through. Mountain View a 4-3 defense with 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 2 corners, 3 safeties.
Morales, fake handoff and skips it to the end zone for a touchdown.
Six-yard touchdown run. Looked like he went left side to Daniel Hernandez's left, off his left shoulder, and Tyree McKinney's right shoulder. And you called it. He scampered or skipped his way through there. 6-yard dash for a touchdown.
Figaro sends it to 17-0. Figaro field goal. Terrell Hayward touchdown run, and now Morales touchdown.
Well, that red zone attack brought to you by our red zone sponsor, Pyramid Federal Credit Union. The touchdown brought to you by Steamy Concepts. Don't get steamed, call Steamy. Luis Morales Jr. 6-yard touchdown run. I guess it's first touchdown rushing this season. For that offensive line, now I will give credit to Montana, who was the offensive line coach for the previous, I want to say 5 or 6 seasons. And then Chuck McCollum coming back from the position that he once held here at Cienega, coming out of semi-retirement, has done a fantastic job of continuing that offensive line's progression. Very accomplished unit on the offensive front.
Like you said last week, if he's able to get those kicks into the end zone, he's a great kicker. Being able to do that.
Very positive development. He is a plus kicker, able to convert extra points, 100% percentage this season. High percentage from field goals with range going to about 50 yards. And now you add that 3rd facet of his kicking game, able to get touchbacks on kickoffs. That is a huge plus for the special teams.
Parsons in the pocket, throws, and it looked like it was Diego Ruby.
Ruby was there in coverage. Chris Burrows was lurking in the flats. And the problem here, I can see it. I can identify the problem here. Parson locks into a receiver, and he does not change his targets. He does not look off receivers. He doesn't go through reads. He's dialed into one kid. And that ball, he's fortunate that was not intercepted as well.
That's kind of how I do it on Madden.
Do you have the ability to look off receivers in Madden?
What?
to look off receivers in Madden? Like, can you control your quarterback and have them like, or are you just looking at different receivers yourself that you're going to target?
You see the different receivers, and they have options. The options are the button. But usually before that happens,
you already know who you're going to go for, right?
Marks the throw. It's a long and high one here, and it is out of bounds. Intended receiver, 17, Donovan Johnson.
That's a good throw. 35 yards in the air, placed exactly where the quarterback wanted to hit his target, on the outside shoulder, near sideline, where it's out of reach from the corner, and you have a taller receiver there in 17 who's able to get some separation. That was a good throw. So we saw some nice arm strength there from Hayden Parson, trying to target Donovan Johnson. Parson's a young kid. He's just a sophomore, 6'4", 200 pounds.
Looks like both of their quarterbacks listed here are both sophomores. And the punt there from Parsons looked like it hit the side of his foot, so it's very low, short. Terrell Hayward picks it up there. Looks like a force collar that's going to be called against him.
I think so. Donovan Johnson, the player we just talked about at wide receiver, who nearly came down with that catch, was there in coverage, and I think it is a horse collar tackle. We'll see what the officials say here. Let's see the signal from the referee. Personal foul, horse collar tackle against 17, so it'll be a 15-yard penalty here. And the ball should be spotted at around the 20-yard line when it's all said and done.
Catch with 2:13 to go. Great, good field position there to try and score again before they head into the half.
Cats in the end zone. This red zone attack brought to you by Pyramid Federal Credit Union. For all of your banking needs, go to Pyramid Federal Credit Union.
Morales looking to throw. Some pressure here from Morales. Able to get one off, and White had to turn around there a little bit to try and grab that one. So it's incomplete to White.
Yep, a little skinny post there for Ethan. Ethan's a big target at 6'2", 160. And you're right, the pass was thrown behind him, behind his back shoulder. So really super high level of difficulty to try to reach back there and make that catch. Not his fault, but I like what Luis is doing, trying to go downfield and not afraid to roll the dice going into the end zone.
Morales escapes the pressure. Will stay to throw. Morales gets hit as he throws, but he has Terrell Hayward
What a
in
play.
the end zone for a touchdown.
What a play from Luis Morales Jr. Very patiently rolling to his left. It looked like it was a planned bootleg run for him, and he was very close to that line of scrimmage. Let's see what the play is here. Personal foul, roughing the passer going against Mountain View, so the touchdown will stand. It's a 22-yard touchdown strike from Morales to Hayward.
And another flag is thrown there. I think it might be a sideline run. Against the Mountain Line. Yes, it is.
Very patient throw, showing a lot of poise, maturity at the quarterback position at a high level, not running for 7 yards, but throwing for the end zone. And then Hayward there, walking the tightrope at the back end line of the end zone, able to secure the catch and keep both feet in bounds for the touchdown. Very nicely done on both ends.
Hillsborough's extra point is good, which makes it 29-0.
I think it's 24.
24-0.
We have a scoreboard error here with the tabulation, so it's 24-0.
24-0.
So that's, go ahead.
I was going to say, quick score there by the Cats. And now the Mountain Lions may have a chance to put something on the board before they go into the half.
Well, you see Todd Welch walking down the grandstand here, the offensive coordinator from Cats. You see Steve Schween, who is the strength and conditioning coach for all of the athletic programs at Sienega High School. What a job he has done.
It was deadlift max day in this class today.
Oh, yeah, were you there?
Yes.
Deadlift max day.
This whole week before the quarter came to an end. Max. Squat, bench, power clean, deadlift.
He has transformed students at that school in all of the athletic competitions and in all the sporting events. So we're seeing it in volleyball, girls and boys. We're seeing it in football, softball, baseball, basketball, girls and boys basketball teams, track and field, cross country, swim. I hope I'm not missing any sports. I'm sure I'm missing somebody, right, Jacob? But wrestling, of course. So all those kids to see that how their potential is being tapped into here and how it elevates these athletes to another level of performance. There's a clear translation, a clear correlation. The causation is weightlifting and strength and conditioning, and the correlation here is that there is increased performance. Kids are faster, they're stronger, they're able to jump and accelerate with more explosivity, and we're seeing that translating here tonight in the football field. So, Coach Schween, well done.
Parsons tries to get something going here for the Mountain Lions. 2 minutes remaining. And it is number 10 there on the run.
Yeah, 10's Varney Larson, the junior, 5'7", 180. Scat back.
And I remember Varney Larson is a familiar name from last
Yes.
year when they came to Sienega to play. So he was a sophomore back then. He made some plays.
Nice decoy on the running play. Eventually it was Sergio Torres and Sebastian Felix combining on the tackle. But I remember that name as well, Varney Larson.
Third and 12, a minute remaining. Clock's ticking. Parsons the throw. Has Johnson. Oh, almost intercepted by Ware. He's a little frustrated he didn't come down with that one, but it was a little high for him.
He may have mistimed his leap just ever so slightly, a fraction of a moment, but right off of his fingertips. All the skill position players have those tackified gloves, so they have extra stick on them. So I know Josiah is thinking he should have caught that one. His dad, Mr. Ware, goes to all the games and films all the games. Very nice gentleman. So he's going to be proud of his son out there, Josiah, who is a senior at the safety position.
Junior.
Oh, junior. Okay, thank you, thank you.
Better punt here from Parsons this time. That one also almost hit.
Yeah, 32 yards net on that punt. Goes out of bounds at the 48-yard line.
See what the Cats do here with 37 seconds left.
Well, I'd like to see like maybe like a wheel route here, where you have a running back who runs a pattern from the backfield, and you can go far side with that. You have 3 wide receivers to the near side. Let's see what the Cats elect to do here.
Morales. Throw, and it is Zach Mattis who just turned around and had an open look there to receive the ball.
33 yards on the reception for Mattis. I think that's his first reception of the season. I may be mistaken.
So a timeout is called here from the Cats. They're now in scoring position inside the Pyramid Federal Credit Union red zone.
Yeah, indeed. And that was Zach's first catch of the season. So 1 catch, 30 yards, a nice yard per catch average. I want to send our best out there to Nicky Mattis and Ty Mattis, who I think is in Italy. Todd Mattis, the architect of the Mattis gym, is also sculpting bodies down there in Vail at his home gym. You see a lot of the rest of the coaching staff. You wonder, if you've been on top of the press box here at Mountain View, you understand what a narrow and limited space that it is. So that's 6 coaches we've seen now emerging. Plus there's Jim Talmadge, who is the longtime videographer for the program, and his sidekick Red. So that's at least 7 coaches from Cienega up on top of the box. A very narrow space.
Morales, the handoff to Silva. Silva has an open look to the end zone. Silva maneuvering his way to find open space and did not get it even touched on that play. 18-yard run there from Dylan Silva, the sophomore.
Well, I'll make an allusion to the Dixie Chicks. That was wide open spaces. 18 yards on the carry by Dylan Silva, taking it to pay dirt.
Cats just pouring on points here now. 31-0.
Well, if you're looking for positives here, Mountain View's players have been very physical in their tackling. We talked about it last week against Rincon University High School. We talked about it with Sunny Slope. We talked about it in week 1 against Choya. I guess me, myself, and I had that conversation, but we have a disparity of talent. Cienega is absolutely loaded. It's a cornucopia of talent at all the positions on the field. Mountain View, on the positive side here, you have a sophomore quarterback that potentially, in Hayden Parson, you can project and see him developing. You have a kid out here as a sophomore, next year as a junior, and as the season progresses, the last 5 weeks, again, we think Mountain View will be able to run the table on their schedule and finish up with 5 straight wins here. So you can build momentum, get kids to buy into the program, continue to develop your skill position players, and then be more competitive. This is a team that, on a year-to-year basis, averages between 6 and 7 wins a season, so they've been very successful under Ben McRae. They're having a rough start here in 2018, but I think this team has the ability to turn it around.
I don't know, but it just seems like to me, my freshman and sophomore year, like when Mountain View would come and play, it just seemed like it was a lot like more spirit, and the sideline was a little bit more filled with more football players.
Yeah.
Kind of not that many down there.
That's a good point. And the freshman team last night, Cienega, they won 58-12. And the JV from Cienega last night was dominant as well. So that does not bode well for the near future, certainly.
Parsons on the run here is stopped by Burrows. And that will bring an end to the first half.
Yeah, most likely.
So the Cats lead 31-0 as both teams head into the half. Cats have shut out both teams, Rincon University and Mountain View now for 2 consecutive weeks before the first half.
And Brett Darling with his defense has to be very pleased with this performance here. Got some excellent coverage. I think a couple of players that maybe should have had interceptions. And we also had a Diego Ruby touchdown catch that should have been. Other than that, very positive on the whole for Cienega. We're seeing their normal weapons coming out here making plays. Terrell Hayward, Diego Ruby, Luis Morales, very poised in the pocket, highly accurate as a passer. The defense has been solid here tonight. giving up not many plays, not many big plays, not many first downs here for Mountain View. I'd be surprised, Jacob, if they had 60 yards of total offense here in the first half.
So I'm going to go ahead and I was going to talk about Bam McRae before a play happened over there, but Bam McRae coaching since 2014, 6-4 in 2014, 6-4 in 15, 7-4 in 2016, 7-4 in 2017. Last year they lost in the first round of the playoffs to Queen Creek. Since 2012, every time they've made the playoffs, they've lost in the first round. Back in 2012, when Clarence McRae was the coach, might be the same dudes.
Right.
They beat Cienega in the first round, 19-17, but then lost in the second one.
That's a game that I remember, and that was a game that was played on Cienega's campus at Bobcat Stadium, or whatever our stadium's called. So I remember that game. It was a frigid November evening. It was cold, and that was a big win for Mountain View to travel and pull up the upset there. Niemer Hassey was the coach at Cienega at the time. So know that Cienega fans remember that one. That was a stunner, a shocking loss. So when I think of Mountain View, I think that's always in the back of my mind, that they're always a scrappy team. They typically rise to the occasion when they play Cienega, although tonight it's been all Cienega in the first half. And I don't see that trend changing at all in the second half, quite frankly. And we're in fall break, Jacob. We're officially on fall break.
Yep.
How does that feel?
Feels good. I feel like the first quarter went by nicely and quickly.
I do too. I feel the same way. The weather seems to be turning, right? Life is pretty good right now. We have a fortnight, 2 weeks, 14 calendar days to hang out, relax, spend time with friends and family, maybe read a book, an actual real book over the break. That's what I'm encouraging people to do over the break. Read a book. All right.
Watch some 49er and U of A football.
U of A football.
And Cienega football on Friday night.
Who are the Cats playing tomorrow?
The Cats play Oregon State tomorrow.
On the road?
On the road.
Okay. We're waiting now that they're going into that Pac-12 schedule. We've got season tickets. We haven't been to a game yet this year. I think when they come back home, I guess next Saturday, that might be the first game that Mrs. Miller and I go to attend. See if I can coax her out of the house on a Saturday night. Watch some Division I collegiate football.
I've heard they made that stadium very nice from last year.
I've heard that too. They've done a lot of renovation to the stadium, making it more enclosed, adding the luxury suites on one of the ends of the end zones. We sit in the end of the end zone where they have the large television screen, so we always had to crane our necks to look around at the replays. But I like where we're seated. We're about halfway up in the end zone, just to the right of the right upright. So I like where we sit. I always see Bobcat students and alumni. I know Matt Aragon is on the team as a punter. Certainly Jamari Joyner is on the roster as a quarterback as a freshman. And I think the plan is to redshirt him. I've heard different reports concerning what his status was going to be. But for me, Jamari Joyner can be Khalil Tate 2.0 and potentially a better passer, because what I've seen from him at 2 years at the high school level is an elite arm and NFL caliber arm strength with athleticism that is off the charts. So I want Khalil Tate to continue to be successful and maybe come back for his junior season. And I want Jamari to redshirt and learn the system and get acclimated to academics, and then he can shine athletically, because I think he will make a tremendous impact if given the opportunity at Arizona. That's what I'm looking forward to. We should take a break.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. The Cats are up 31-0. It's halftime. You're watching Cienega High School football exclusively on Bobcat TV.
colored balloons will reveal our king and queen for our 2018 homecoming. I will be counting down from 3, and when I reach 1, you may open your boxes and reveal the 2018 NBHS Homecoming King and Queen. Can I get a drum roll, please? 3, 2, 1. Congratulations for Josh Everhart and Tammy Reed. Is your band ready? You may begin your performance.
All right, well, welcome back to the broadcast. We are getting set for the second half here. Cats are going to kick off to the Mountain Lions, and got to point out what just happened there. Before the teams came out, Mountain View kind of walked out of their little huddle thing and looked like they had no pride. I think that's something that goes on the coaches. I know you're down 31, but you got to come out here with some pride. So that one looked like it was in the end zone, but it's going to be taken out by Varney Larson. And he'll get an extra 4 yards there up to the 24 there.
Yeah, nice return for him. I missed it, Jacob, because I was fiddling with something over here. My Burt's Bees lip balm, I think, is what I was fiddling with. So I missed that whole sequence that you were talking about. I know opening the game, they had an inflatable that they went through. They didn't bring that out for the start of the second half, did they?
No, it was like a paper that they were going to run through.
Okay. And you said that they just kind of walked through rather listlessly. Not a lot of energy or emotion or enthusiasm here. So bad body language. Low snap.
And as McRae, who's the runner there, gets stopped there by the swarm of cats.
Mystery solved. I talked to some of the staff here at Mountain View High School. Bam McRae, who was the coach that was listed, was it Clarence?
Clarence McRae.
One and the same person. So Clarence is Bam McRae.
Oh. So those numbers mix in with Bam along with Clarence. So I guess Bam has made it to the second round.
Yes. That's a nice run.
They lost to South Point Catholic in that second round, 35-7.
Yeah, and you know South Point always at an advantage with their program. They have the ability to offer scholarships. They have the ability to recruit, even though their athletic director, Phil Grunsfelder, and their coach would say that they don't recruit, they recruit. A Catholic school recruiting, no less.
Parsons on the screen throw. It's a high one, and to Larson. Usually those throws are short and quick, not high like that one.
Well, I do like the energy we're seeing here. They may have come out listless from the locker room, but on the field here, they're giving max effort. And you know the coaches from Mountain View are all dialed in here. They're trying to make something happen on this opening drive to get back in the game. Get that 0 off the scoreboard and put 7 on and feel like you're actually in the game.
This brings up 2nd and 10. And there is number 2, Aaron Loxton, who's the intended receiver, in and out of his hands.
Got to make that catch. So, yeah, DiMaggio Streve, who is at the right end position, big, tall kid, number 54 at 6'2", 225. And a nice, perfectly lobbed pass there from Hayden Parson. And Logson's got to make that catch. He had wide open space on the far side and plenty of room to run for a first down.
Mountain Lions need 10 here. Parsons looking to throw, has pressure, and it is sacked by number 35, Jacob Acosta.
Relatively quiet tonight. Acosta is actually the leading tackler on this defense, and he's a target on offense at tight end. Here's another criticism of Parson. He's got that football held so far away from his body, probably about whatever his wingspan, and he's got it about that far away. Very easy for a defensive player to swat and paw at that football and knock it loose. He's got to be a little bit more protective when he's got the ball and carrying it out in space.
So they will punt here on 4th and 12. It's a low snap, but he's able to recover.
That's a nice punt.
And Ruby is the punt returner here. Kind of bobbled it on the return. And we tackled there, an aggressive tackle.
And gutty there from Ruby to try to return that. The tackler that was on him, I think it was 23, Marco Galindo. And at some point, you just have to go down because you're held there, you're a stationary target, and 2 and 3 other guys could get clean shots on you. So I give him points for courage, but in that scenario, I'd like to see him just go down and accept you're not going to get any more yardage there.
Cats will start their first offensive drive of the second half. And here's Beard on the run. I think we're going to see a lot more Beard here in the second half.
I think so. your classic running back. Exactly what you want to see drawn up in a textbook, how to receive the handoff, how to hold the ball with 2 hands, always moving forward. Nice little spin there at the end to get an extra half yard. 6 yards on the play.
Morales with Beard in the backfield. Ruby the only one out there as a receiver. He comes in motion as a runner and gets the handoff. Ruby, first down and more. Try to lower his shoulder and get even more on that one.
Yep, 9 yards on the carry. Cats love to run their fleet-footed receivers in motion, going in both directions. We see 2 tight ends, so tight ends on both ends of the offensive line. Extra blockers in there. Their power football, or their version of power football, always a lot of misdirection and moving pieces. But when it comes down to it, it's basic smash mouth football.
Morales in the pocket, steps up, throws downfield, and has Hayward on the run. Terrell Hayward, 51-yard touchdown catch.
And then you sprinkle in the play action, and it's that much more effective, opening up the big pass play. Great call at the right time. Nice job there by Todd Welch, the offensive coordinator, and Pat Nugent, the head coach, to roll the dice on that play. Very effectively done. You start lulling a defense to sleep with this rhythmic running attack and all these moving pieces, and then bam, you run a big play down the far sideline to your best receiver, Terrell Hayward.
I'm kind of in that fall break mode, and I'm sure some of these football players and coaches are too, so they probably want 42 on the board.
Yes, 42 would be a nice number. Jackie Robinson was number 42. Mariano Rivera was number 42. Ronnie Lott was number 42. James Worthy, I think, was 42. So Laker fans out there, forgive me if I'm amiss on Worthy, but that's the number that I see in my mind.
So 38-0. The Cats open the half up quickly here with the touchdown after a defensive stop.
And 2 touchdown receptions here for Terrell Hayward tonight, who has been relatively quiet to this point in the season. Coming into tonight, just 9 catches, 188 yards, averaging 21 yards per catch, 2 touchdowns. We know he is all over the field as a kick returner, punt returner, cover cornerback, a lockdown, shutdown corner, and also that fleet-footed slot receiver. Coaches here making their way down from the top of the press box. Todd Welch, Steve Schween. Schween shook my hand before the half. So shout out to Mrs. Schween listening and watching the broadcast tonight. She told her husband that I gave a shout out to her husband. A well-deserved shout out. He's done such a great job. First of all, as a coach, a long-time defensive line, offensive line coach, now transitioning in a way that he can impact all of these programs across the board as a strength and conditioning coach.
And I've heard from some of my fellow classmates that Mrs. Schween is a Spanish teacher over at Empire High School.
Sí.
Sí. Yeah, but he has done a great job. His first year here, remember, third was what is that? The last spring season. He won 2 championships,
right.
Boys volleyball and
girls softball. Softball back to back. Yeah, sí es claro. Buenas noches. I don't know how much more to say. I can't think right off the top of my head here. If I'm in Mexico, then I can speak more fluently because I just try to assimilate into that culture. But yes, she is an excellent Spanish teacher at Empire High School. I don't know if you can hear, I don't know if the fans out there can hear this public address announcer, but he is a trip. And everywhere we go, it seems like these PA announcers are different. Different flavors, a lot of enthusiasm and excitement, and this guy is no exception. I'm enjoying it tonight.
Carson on the fake throw, decides to run it, flag on the play.
Of course, there's only one Tim Nichols, right? The Bobcat fans are very fortunate to have Tim Nichols, the golf coach, photography teacher, longtime public address announcer, who does such a terrific job. He is unique. He's at a different level as well. Gotta say, that Copper Thunder marching band across the way is making their presence felt here. They played pregame with several selections from this year's repertoire, and they are jamming right now across the way. You can hear them clear as a bell.
Parsons in motion, and pass is thrown behind McRae there, incomplete. Yeah, the band just, they seem to sound better as every week goes by. Been a lot of practice.
A lot of hard work. You talked about the late nights they put in on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Mondays and Wednesdays. You hear them in the morning at 7:20, 0 hour. Jim Matsushino has been recognized, deservedly so, for all of his achievements with that band. That was a dangerous pass. There were 3 white jerseys there in the vicinity of that pass. Oh, there's a nice little screen.
This pass is complete. It's number 4. And that is number 4. Let's see here.
I think that's Jace Crandell, the 6'4" wide receiver, 6'4", 180. He's close to the marker. If he cut it upfield a little bit earlier, I think he had a chance there. A couple of missed tackles. I'm seeing here with the smaller corners, Sergio Torres and Chris Burrows, they're kind of throwing their bodies sideways at these receivers to make tackles. You've got to wrap up with both arms. Oh, nice play action pass, nice catch.
Complete to McRae for a first down.
13 yards on the catch by Caleb McRae. Big target at 6'1", 219. But a beautiful play action fake there from Hayden Parson. Those little things, right? With a little bit of deception here, buys you some space, distance, and time to make things happen throwing the football. Very nicely done.
And there's the run to Red Gloves there. Number 2, Aaron Logston.
Big Darian Torres, 71, playing both sides of the ball. He's in there at nose tackle. Chase Iverson at left end.
And here is Parson on the fake handoff, and that's going to get him a first down. So we haven't seen much positivity from this Mountain View on the offensive side. You know, and that has something to do with Cienega's defense.
Right.
But we're starting to see some, you know, stuff here that gets some points on the board.
Right. Positive, gaining some momentum here offensively in the second half, no doubt.
And here's Parsons again. That's a good gain.
Sergio Torres coming up to make the tackle. Sergio, a scrappy player, 5'10", 140. So you've got Sergio at 5'10", 140. Chris Burrows at 5'8", 134. Frank Torres, number 20, the senior, 6', 175. So you've got some smaller guys back there in coverage at corner and safety for the Cats.
Parsons, fake handoff, has plenty of time and room there to throw, and that's a great catch by McRae. Had Burrows with great coverage, but he's able to bring it in.
28 yards on the reception. Burrows was all over him. That's a big height discrepancy there when you're talking about Chris at 5'8", and you've got Caleb McRae at 6'1".
Yeah. Remember in the first half, I said you need to look for that matchup. Is this their best field position of the night?
Absolutely.
Here's Parsons, and he's into the end zone. The Mountain View Mountain Lions do get points on the board. It was a great drive here by the Mountain Lions, the best we've seen all night.
.6'4", 200, so Parson making his presence felt here running the football on some designed bootlegs and quarterback draws. The previous play set it up with a little pump fake and then finding Caleb McRae deep into the red zone.
And it looks like that's number 24.
Maybe 34. Aiden Allen. So we've got somebody who's not listed on our roster. So Elijah Mitchell is number 34. He's a sophomore.
It's 24. That's 24. Negishan Nguyen.
Oh, Nguyen?
Nguyen.
Is it 24?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad, Jacob. So Nishan Nguyen on the extra point for Mountain View. Because I heard the announcer say Elijah Mitchell, even though number 24 is Nguyen. So apologies there to the kicker from Mountain View who converted that one.
.5:11 remaining in the third. 38-7 Cats lead. It's a shorter kick here. Ruby picks it up, sheds a few tacklers there. It's brought down at about around the 30.
I won't be in fall break mode until about midnight tonight. That's about the time that I'm estimating my arrival back at my house. And then usually, Jacob, I come home and watch or listen to the broadcast and then fall asleep with the laptop on my lap. And then I'm like, all right, it's time to go to bed.
Finish it, or is it while it's playing?
Usually it's somewhere like in the midst of playing. So I've had about 3 iced teas, unsweetened teas, so I might be able to stay awake until about 1 o'clock tonight. We'll see.
And now it's Montana in at quarterback. Jean Four is also on the run. Backup starting to come in. We saw Daniel Montana plenty last week. He is the junior who right now looks like the starter for next year, but some competition is in there.
I think so. And I saw Ryan Swoger last night, who I think is a junior at quarterback for the JV.
He's a sophomore.
Oh, he's a sophomore.
Yeah.
Perfect. So he was very impressive. So I think he has a chance down the line to be the starter on the varsity level as well. Showed some good things last night, running and throwing off the run. Nice, strong arm. Very capable, competent athlete there at the quarterback position. Kind of your prototypical high school quarterback who can run and throw. And he was very poised last night, so I was very impressed by what he flashed last night for the JV, who rolled big over Mountain View over their JV team.
You were there last night?
I was there last night, yeah. Filling in for Eric Tatham at Public Address, so I did.
Oh, how was that?
It was fun. I did the freshman game last Thursday. I did the JV game last night, and then that's it for me for this season. I've got too little time and too much to do. But it was fun to watch both the JV and freshman teams. Very impressive. Well coached. The freshmen coached by Chris Patterson. The JV coached by Jeff Bullnow, who is the safety and the special teams coach here for the varsity. And they all run the same system. So the freshman kids are running the same plays that we see the varsity kids running. Not at the same level of efficiency, but they're running the same design plays with motion and movement and formations and the same defensive alignment and 3-3-5 set. So it's good to see these kids developing from the freshman year up to their varsity. They're skip there on the snap. Good punt when it's all said and done. Punt goes out of bounds. 46 yards on the punt with the roll there.
So the Mountain Lions last drive was their best of the night. They have 3:30 to go here in the third, and they're probably looking to put 7 on the board again, just like they did last drive.
Yeah, for sure, and see if they can just run some basic football. Nothing too crazy. get your quarterback running the ball a little bit. Hayden Parson, we saw he was very successful the last drive.
Ooh, and that's Roderick Quintero there quickly to stop Logsdon.
Yeah, good penetration on the defensive front. Cats are rotating about 6 linemen on the defensive line, so all these kids are fresh. And again, what I really think is important for this team is to rotate players on both sides of the ball, so you have very few players that are playing both offense and defense. These kids are gassed and winded. We're seeing a lot more depth here in the last couple of weeks.
And Parsons' pass there should have been caught there.
Should have.
By Jace Crandall.
Yep, and they had it set up beautifully. It was a screen, a wide receiver screen on a quick slant. He had 2 blockers in front of him and room to go behind those 2 blockers. So that's a ball that's got to be caught here. You've got to sustain the momentum and keep the chains moving forward, the team continuing to press forward here and build on the momentum that you've sustained from the last drive. Got to catch that ball.
3rd and 11. Parsons to throw, and has McRae, and that pass is incomplete.
I think a little behind him. He was going across on the deep post route. The pump fake here has been very effective by Parson. So I think that's something that you just kind of acclimate to, and it's part of your natural progression at that position, where it's little things like looking off your receivers, going through your reads, keeping your head up and looking downfield. These little pump fakes, right, can really throw off a defensive back and buy yourself some space for your receivers to maneuver, and then you can find them with your delivery. So just a little bit behind McRae. He almost made a great catch, though. Very athletic player.
Ruby will get on top of it.
He didn't have to jump on that football. It wouldn't have rolled that much further, so a little bit risky for him. So a 41-yard punt. There was a flag down, but that flag's been waved, so no penalty on the play. And Jacob, with that state-of-the-art scoreboard that they have here, with the video display and the brightly illuminated time on the clock, down and distance, quarter, score. They have advertisements on the side there. I'm sure that has the ability to integrate wireless microphones into it. There's no reason why the refs shouldn't be mic'd up tonight, at least the head official.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, they have that at Nogales. So when we go to Nogales, you'll be able to hear the refs. Fumble. Recovered by Mountain View.
So Nogales has a similar thing like that?
Yes, they have. Nogales has the old University of Arizona scoreboard, and it is integrated with a wireless microphone system, so the referees are mic'd up. We'll see that. You'll also see the Apache, that's their mascot, on horseback with a spear riding down from a hilltop into the stadium. And that's a sight to behold as well.
An actual horse?
Yes.
If only they had a better football team there.
With full war paint. Well, they have a great basketball program.
Yeah.
Especially on the boys' side. Chase Iverson applying pressure on the quarterback's blind side. And I think that Parson could feel that. Just a little bit softer on the touch to try to connect with Varney Larson. Little things that get ironed out over time. And I think we'll see from tonight's game here in week 5 to week 10, major progression on these little details.
Stopped quickly there right at the line. Looks like that defensive line is all backups now. Secondary seems to still be the starters though.
It's always a host. When there are more than one, it's a host. And it's always hard to see numbers when there's a little scrum or a pile up down there. So a host of cats on the tackle.
3rd and 10. And the pass is caught by Crandall. And that one's not a first down, but it's close, manageable. They're probably going to go for it here.
Oh yeah, got to. 8 yards on the reception. It makes it a very manageable 4th and about maybe 3. Or is it 3rd and 3?
4th and 3.
Okay. Oh, offsides. Well, that's an automatic first down. These mistakes will drive a defensive line coach crazy. They'll drive a defensive coordinator nuts. And the head coach mad. Can't handle it, these kind of mistakes. Mental errors. Got an official's timeout here. Might be an injured player. Or might have an issue with the chain, the first down markers on the far side of the field. Looks like the chains were stuck there. And now the chain gang moving forward here. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 21.
Parsons to throw. Pass it way over the middle, and Sebastian Felix with the hit to make the ball go loose.
Blistering hit. Catchable pass, but a wide receiver's deepest fear on that route across the middle where you know that you are fair game, and a withering hit, as you called it there, from Sebastian Felix, the sophomore, 6 foot 180.
Parsons throws one high.
Nice play.
There's Felix again.
Back to back. Cats brought the blitz, so they brought a lot of pressure there, and it was man-to-man coverage, and Felix doing a nice job breaking it up. He gestured as if he had a chance at making a one-handed catch, but nicely deflected there at the last moment.
So a timeout by the Mountain Lions. They are facing a 3rd and 10. You know, from what I've seen here tonight, I think Flowing Wells might give him a game. Flowing Wells has got off to a good start.
I don't know who Flowing Wells has played to this point in the season. Is Flowing Wells coming here to Mountain View next week, or are they going to Flowing Wells?
Flowing Wells is their last game of the season.
Oh, okay.
And
I wonder if Flowing Wells is still playing on natural grass. That's what I'd be curious to know. Not too many of those fields left here in the Tucson area. Most of the schools transitioning, like Mountain View here with the artificial turf. It's cheaper over the long haul. Maybe more cost effective would be the better way to say it, because it's expensive to put turf down. About $400,000 to put turf in.
Parsons on the run, gets around the defenders, and pass is in and out of the hands of Frank Anaya. Incomplete.
And I thought Parson was going to run the football. It appeared that he had some space here. Once he had eluded Chase Iverson, the left end, who appears to be winded right there. So Parson at left end, Isaiah Alvarez at nose tackle, Quinton Rodebert at right end. All three of those guys appear to be a little bit gassed. So it's going to set up a 4th and 10 here, a pivotal 4th and 10 for Mountain View.
You probably should have ran on that.
I think so.
4th and 10. It's a screen play here.
Nice. That's a big hit.
That's close.
I think he got the first down.
We'll see where the ref marks it here.
Francisco Anaya on the tackle. And a first down. Wide receiver screen. You take 2 steps and then cut it in. You have 2 blockers in front of you. One guy is like a pick. and he cuts it vertically up the field, and a nice lunge there for the first down.
So 1st and 10 from the 10. And a run there goes for a couple.
This Red Zone Attack brought to you by Pyramid Federal Credit Union.
Second and 6, 4 receivers out there for Parsons. Parsons looking for a thrower, but then runs. Good stiff arm there. And it's finally taken down. The stiff arm there to Ryan Hoos gave him some extra yards.
And I think Hoos may have been there as a spy in this situation. A 2nd and goal kind of a situation, because it looked like Parson was rolling to his left with intent to run the football on a bootleg. And it brings us to the end of the 3rd quarter. So the field position will shift, and Mountain View will now be going from right to left toward that left end zone. And it's going to be 3rd and goal here from about the 8-yard line.
So 38-7 Cats lead. These two teams started playing in 2011. They're 4-4 against each other all the time. Cienega has won the last 2 matchups. So Cienega most likely to win this one will take that series lead 5-4.
Mountain View has had success with the screen. So they can go Crandall on the screen. They can also go Varney Larson or Caleb McRae. Their 2 most frequent targets. Larson with 18 catches for 272 yards and 2 touchdowns. McRae 13 catches for 247 and a touchdown, averaging 15.1 and 19 yards respectively at those positions. And I think Parson seems to be more effective when he's rolling and throwing off the run, as opposed to just classic back there in the pocket. We've got trips to the far side. We haven't seen that very often here tonight from Mountain View.
Parson, handoff to Logsdon. We'll get them closer to the end zone. A little closer.
So a deceptive call. Everyone's thinking pass, and you run the ball in the interior with Logsdon. You're a little bit closer here. The ball's at the 5-yard line, and now you've got to throw or make the option to throw it in the end zone.
Parsons handoff here to Logsdon, and it is a touchdown for the Mountain View Mountain Lions. Aaron Logsdon on the 4-yard touchdown run. They needed that on 4th down.
Nice. Just went over left side between the center and the left guard. Nice hole there. Another little deceptive play. I was thinking pass. I think the defenders were thinking pass as well. So just run it to the interior. What do I know? Nice play there by Aaron Logsdon.
Can't pronounce his name here, but that is number 24, the kicker, and the point is good. 11:05 remaining. Cats 38, Mountain Lions 14.
Well, I'll take a stab at the pronunciation.
Okay.
I think it's Nishan Nguyen on the extra point for Mountain View. And it is a game here, Jacob. It's 38-14. A 24-point differential. We're talking 3 touchdowns and a couple of 2-point conversions here for Mountain View. So their chances here are flickering, but they are certainly alive. And they're showing resiliency in the second half.
The coaches may want to make their way back up here.
Yeah, right? Unlikely. But stranger things have happened. Maybe a little premature with the exits.
I'm sure it was crowded up there and they wanted to get down as soon as possible.
There's something about that. Niemer Hasse, when he was coaching the team, sometimes would go up to the press box so he could have the bird's eye view of the whole field. Squib kick here, and it's going to trickle. Oh, it stays in bounds.
And here's Elijah Amico, the junior, as the returner. Good block there. And that's going to be a flag, but Elijah Amico's still going. It's going to be a block in the back there on the Cats.
John Flores on the block, maybe slightly on the back of the special team kid in coverage there for Mountain View. Very close.
So you're saying Niemer Hasse would sometimes go up there?
Sometimes he would. I mean, usually as a head coach, he was down on the sidelines with his players, which makes a lot of sense. Of course, they're in radio communique with the coaches on top of the press box, but particularly in his last couple of seasons, there would be times where he would go to the top of the press box so he could get a better view. Very offensive-oriented coach, would often call the plays in conjunction with the offensive coordinator, but he had a better feel for the chessboard, as it were, from up on the catbird seat on top of the press box.
Was it like a situational thing when they were down or something?
No, he would make decisions. Sometimes he would start off up there. Sometimes he would go up there at the end of the first half just to get a better view if he wasn't happy with how things were progressing.
Williams.
Nice tackle.
On the run, yeah, and that's not easy to tackle.
Aaron Logsdon there. So this is a huge defensive series for Mountain View. They get to stop here and get that football. They've got a chance.
Amigo takes it in motion.
It's interesting. Elijah Amico has done some good things on special teams. We've seen his speed so different physiologically from his older brother Nate Amico. Elijah, 5'9", 140, is a water bug. Just a scat, fleet-footed, smaller kid. Nate Amico was a big inside linebacker and like a punishing fullback.
Yeah.
So totally different in terms of their stature and how they play the game, but both very effective as football players.
Montana rolling to his right, looking to a receiver, has nobody, and is tackled out of bounds there by Khalid McRae. Good pressure there from McRae.
Nice pressure. Well, the problem if you're rolling out as a quarterback, and I like to see Montana 16, reminds me of Joe Montana, Joe Cool, rolling to his right. At some point, you run out of real estate. All the receivers were covered, nobody to throw to, and a nice job there by the defender to step up and force him out of bounds. Two things done well there on defense. One, you get the stop, which was critical. Secondly, you push and force the player out of bounds so the clock stops. So both positives there, very nicely done by the Mountain View defense.
So it's Matt Slattery, the punter, backed all the way up to make the punt. Looks like it's Barney Larson to return.
Nice snap.
And a flag there. It's going to be roughing the kicker. Maybe.
Holding against Cienega. Number 88, Tristan Bushy, is the long snapper. And since he's been inserted into that position, the snapping issues have been resolved. And he actually made he downed the punt there. So good hustle from him to snap the ball accurately and then fly down the field.
And I remember Matt Slattery was saying that him and Tristan Bushy and Packus were working on it, because remember in Centennial it was Ethan White who was long snapper, and it just wasn't working for him.
No.
So Tristan Bushy has done a lot better job.
So the Mountain Lions with great field position here. 1st and 10 from the Cats 28.
The pass to McRae is complete. McRae rolled over David Clark.
He did. Clark's 5'6", 130. McRae is 6'1", 219. So 80 pounds, almost 90 pounds heavier, imposing his mass.
And that one's complete. Crandell on the reception.
That was that wide receiver quick slant where you had the wide out, he was near side, coming inside. You have McRae, a larger blocker, setting a screen or a pick. The timing was just a little bit off on that reception. Got an official's timeout now down on the field. And a hush over the crowd. What's going on?
Here we go. 1st and 5. The hands off to Logsdon. Logsdon has space. Almost into the end zone. He's close. They're at the 2-yard line.
Well, Logsdon's have been a go-to back here late. 1st and goal.
We'll see if they go to him again here. And they don't. And it's Parsons on the run. Parsons is taken down by Clark. That's a good tackle by Clark.
Great tackle. Way to fill that space. Clark coming up from the corner position as soon as he saw the quarterback was keeping it. And I think they had Logsdon going to the inside. That's been working for them, especially late here. Logsdon a touchdown on the previous possession, averaging 4.9 yards a carry. We'll see if they go back to him here. Oh, that's a wide open play here. Not fast enough. Ball pops out. That's disappointing. I thought that Parson was down on the ground. That's what it appeared to me. Logsdon had all the space going to the far side on the bootleg, just not the speed. We saw that quick recovery there from the Cat defenders at corner and safety to make the tackle. I really thought that Parson was down by contact, but it's ruled a fumble.
To be honest with you, I think Parson should have just, right when he got around that corner, cut straight through, because
straight upfield.
Yeah, there was one defender there, but he was trying to come all the way around where there were 3 defenders coming out his side.
And Dive at 6'4", he took a circuitous or longer route, like a parabola to the outside. Should have just cut it straight. I agree with you, Jacob, straight up. Interesting, we've got Luis Morales Jr. back at quarterback. So the Cats here, realizing that this game is not sealed or wrapped. Hayward's back out there. Diego Ruby is out there. Diego Rivas. Caleb Beard, all the starters on offense back out on the field. And it's got to be difficult from a mindset standpoint where psychologically you're like, oh, we've got this, it's wrapped. Then the team makes a comeback and it's difficult to flip the switch back on again and get competitive.
Morales. Looked like he put that one into Ruby's chest and just took it himself.
He had it there momentarily, and then he pulled it back in and kept it on the draw. That's been an effective play for them tonight.
that play is not something that, you know, they set before it happens. Morales is keeping his eyes open, you know, seeing what's going around with the defense, and makes that decision right when Ruby comes his way.
Classic read option. Quarterback has the option to hand off or tuck it back in and keep it.
Morales is complete to Hayward.
Basic football. Just play catch, find number 7, move the chains. Get back to basics.
Play results in a first down or second.
First and 10. 5:30 to go here in the fourth. Ruby had the comeback, and Ruby, good job to hold on to it there. Got hit pretty hard.
Some nice blocking downfield. Diego Rivas was there. And also downfield, Andrew Husfelt from the left tackle position, paving the way. But we saw that acceleration there from, I think it was Diego Ruby on the carry, right? Was it
Yeah,
Ruby?
Ruby.
Great acceleration there from him, turning the corner, finding the edge, and moving the chains forward.
Nice cutback there from Morales.
I like the slide.
Yeah.
He showed option pitch. He was looking for, I think it was Hayward on the pitch, decided to keep it and turn it up. So I don't know what Luis Morales' offensive rushing numbers are here tonight, but I would venture to say that he's at about 50, maybe to 60 yards here tonight, averaging about 4 yards a carry, which is excellent for him.
Beard on the run. Caleb Beard.
Twisting, pushing, driving, pumping the legs, moving the chains. Very solid. Caleb Beard is my teaching assistant second period. He popped in and said, hey, I've got a test I need to study for. Is it okay? I'm like, absolutely. Go take care of your business. He's like, I'm starting tonight. And I said, I knew it. I knew you'd be starting tonight. So he's very excited. He's done a great job. He's worked very hard in this program. And he has been a solid contributor at that running back position. Has given stability, filling in for Thomas Webb, filling in for Gio Owens. We'll try to find some status on Gio and hoping that he can get back into the mix because he is the breakaway running back that I think this team needs. And he adds a completely different dimension in their offense when he's out there and healthy. Oh, over series, right? I'm sure. I think Caleb McRae was on their top 25 list for 2018. He was up there in like the low 20s. Number 1 was Trenton Bourget. We're looking forward to seeing him and Marana come to Cienega on October the 12th. That'll be a huge game. The biggest game on the schedule when you look at the calendar. And then also Bijan Robinson was number 2 on that list at running back. And then Terrell Hayward was number 3. So those are the top 3 players as deemed by the Arizona Daily Star.
Actually, I did write down a player, but he was a quarterback for Mountain View. You probably know him, Justice Somerset.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the greats to go through Mountain View.
He was super athletic, hyper athletic. I would compare him to like Randall Cunningham going back to like the late 80s, early 90s. A player that could throw and run. And I think that Justice Somerset went on to the University of Arizona as a track athlete because he had blistering speed. May have been a long jumper too.
High jump.
Okay, perfect.
Starting QB in 2014 and 2015.
Yep.
Threw for 5,260 yards in those years.
Big time dual threat. Could run, could throw. Kind of like Jamari Joyner, could run and throw. Super athletic, a leader on the field, poised. He played against Cienega, put up 300 yards passing, and I think 3 touchdowns, I remember, at Cienega.
Now a junior at the U of A. Good luck to him in his track season.
Nice. Jacob, your research is just off the charts. You always pull these little factoids out of wherever you are researching, so that is kudos to you for always being on top of these fascinating tidbits.
Yeah.
Tim Kirkjian is like the guy for stats, and then I'm trying to remember the baseball writer who's on the MLB network. I can't remember his name, so that name's eluding me. I can picture him. But some of those guys just pull these fascinating details from way back in the past. Oh, I spy Kelly Haddon across the way, making his way across the back line of the end zone. And Jeff Bolnow, the safeties coach, is easy to spy. He's always got the tennis ball yellow long sleeve shirt that he's wearing so the defenders can spy him as he signals in defensive calls.
I wonder what he wears on Thursdays when he's coaching the JV team.
Well, I can tell you, last night he was wearing a short sleeve navy polo, khaki shorts, a black belt, gray socks, and black pants with a Cienega hat. And the hat was backwards and then it was frontways. So he looked a little bit kind of like I look on the weekends when I'm mowing my grass. Slightly disheveled. I'd never seen him in shorts before, so that kind of like threw me off. But usually khaki pants like he's wearing tonight, and then the lime green shirt, fluorescent green shirt. And I think the program wears Nike shoes, so all the coaches wearing Nikes.
Montana was looked like he was ready to pass, but then took it for a run. Good stop there by Mountain View. Minute 20 to go here in the game. Mountain View Mountain Lion fans starting to make their ways to the exits.
Yeah, beat the traffic. The coaches had left with about 4:30 on the clock, so Mountain View's coaches who were perched atop the press box, they broke down all of their telecom gear and made their exit out to go join their coaches on the sidelines. Mountain View next week has Empire here at Wayne Jones Stadium, and then Rincon University home the following week. So both those games they're winnable games. They should win both of them. And then you have them, I lost my schedule here, further on in their season.
You sure it's not Choya next week?
Oh, maybe it is Choya. I might have page 2 of their schedule. Right, yes, sorry. Choya at Choya, win. Empire at home the following week, Rincon at home the following week. We'll chalk those up as win-wins. So they'll be able to right their ship here. They should be able to finish the season with a record of 5-5 and have an outside shot at making the playoffs.
Pass there from Montana to receiver there over the middle, Tristan Bushy. But there is a flag on the play. Tristan Bushy's a big target over the middle.
He is. That was a nice play and a good throw, a good strong throw. Montana stepping up into the pocket. There was a flag down here. Face mask against one of the offensive linemen from Cienega. Well, Jacob, next Friday night, the Cats will host Sunnyside. Sunnyside Blue Devils, 3-1 on the season. They are playing Saguaro tonight. but Cienega is a stronger program with a deeper, more talented roster than what Sunnyside can face. Sunnyside's coach is an offensive lineman, so his linemen are typically well coached.
Are those Bijan Robinson shirts down there? There's no Robinson, number 5 on Mountain View. Slattery's punting is high.
My guess would be some JV kiddos because South Point is playing Tucson High tonight in a clash of unbeaten teams, both teams 4-0. But we know South Point is stacked.
Yeah. They played in Tucson's game of the week today against Tucson High.
Should be the game of the week. Might make a difference if they play that game at Tucson High or at South Point Catholic.
At South Point.
Yeah, so you have to favor South Point at home. Bijan Robinson's on a different level. And Dennis Benet is a very accomplished head coach.
What about Tucson High? 5-0, best start in a while.
Right, but whom have they played would be the question.
Yeah.
So I don't think their competition's very stiff to this point. We'll find out tomorrow when we look at the papers in the morning or go online to find the scores tonight. We'll have a much better indication as to how good South Point is. We've got some mighty toddlers here meandering their way through our gear and our cables and our wires. Rugrats. Well, Jacob, Sunnyside next week at Buena, and then we're looking at October the 12th, Marana. I've circled that on my calendar. That will be the game of the season for the Cats in the regular season. Rematch from last year. What was the score of last year's Week 1 shootout? 55-50?
Yeah.
Both teams were in the 50s.
Yeah. 23 seconds to go in the game. 1st and 10, Mountain View driving. Maybe looking to put some extra points on the board. Feel a little better.
Yeah. Build momentum. I wouldn't run the football. I would throw the ball into the end zone and take 3 shots or 4 shots and try to get a touchdown into the end zone.
Nothing to lose here.
But I like that offensive line from Cienega. I think they've really been resilient. Andrew Husfeld at left tackle, Tyron McKinney at left guard, Daniel Hernandez at center, Rodabert Quintero at right guard, Darian Torres at right tackle. Very effective tonight in blocking, protecting for Luis Morales. Morales had a nice game throwing the football tonight. Not as accurate as he has been, but big plays from him, showing his poise in the pocket and the ability to run the football tonight. So showing a second dimension, the ability to run the ball, particularly on draws and on designed bootlegs or rollouts. Very competent quarterback and perfect in terms of touchdown to interception ratio. Nice pass.
And it is complete there to Khalid McRae for the touchdown. That does give them some momentum to end the game with. At least, better than anything. So with 8 seconds to go, Parsons' pass to McRae is complete. 13-yard touchdown. Extra point is good. 38-21. Chance for a comeback?
Say it again?
Chance for a comeback?
No, not with his time.
Okay.
Impossible. Impossible in Super Tecmo Bowl on the regular NES for Nintendo. Impossible in Madden. Impossible in any video game or simulator. Only if you have the ability to stop time or cast some sort of spell can you come back with this deficit. It's 17 points. They could score, potentially, they could get the onside kick and score one more touchdown. The closest they can get here would be 29-38, and that's highly improbable as well. But this is very positive for them. Khalid McRae on the deep slant or the post across the back of the end zone. Nice catch. Hayden Parson connecting with him. So Parson here on 2 touchdowns. He has a 10-yard touchdown run and that 13-yard touchdown strike, showing a nice arm. And again, he's a big classic quarterback, 6'4". So some things to build on here and look forward to for next week. And that's a nice onside kick.
Cats will recover. 45.
Good distance though. Nishan Nguyen on the extra point, we think. So he's been perfect on extra points, 3 for 3 tonight. Little positives, you gotta find these silver linings here if you're a Mountain Lions fan. They were resilient, they did not quit, and they put up 21 points in the second half. So those are all things that you can build upon. Got a Sean Lee sighting. The senior rolling his way through here. Not Sean Lee, the linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, but Sean Lee, the football player from Cienega High School.
And that will end the game on the Daniel Montana kneel. So 38-21, Cats win the game, and they are 4-1 now on the season. Coach Nugent running out there to greet Mountain View Mountain Lions coach Dan McRae.
Pat is walking with purpose here, and some words between, that's interesting, some words between Pat Nugent and Dan McRae. McRae pointing his finger toward Pat, Pat having none of it, turns his back and walks away with purpose to huddle up with his team. There's some chippy conversation happening there at the 45-yard line that is fascinating.
Yeah, and from what I saw, Pat Nugent running onto the field, it looked like he was going to give quick handshakes and just leave. Wonder what sparked that.
I don't know. Testy, feisty, contentious.
We do have to be grateful for the Cienega Bobcats coaching staff. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on the Mountain View Mountain Lion coaching staff, but Cienega has a lot. It looks like they have a lot more coaches. They're a lot more coordinated with the way they run things, and we got to be grateful for
oh, they are finely tuned, like a precise Swiss watch. They run like clockwork. Everyone knows their role. Everyone contributes to the effort. Look, man, this is like an army that is rolling into battle, and they come with the coaching staff. They bring the band. Look at the grandstand across the way. It's totally jam-packed. Standing room only across the way. And Cienega travels well. They are supportive. The administration is supportive. And look, I see Niemer Hassie out there, and he is having a conversation with Dan McRae at the 35-yard line. So Niemer, head coach, former head coach, principal of the school, Whitney Holland, the athletic director out there, trying to be diplomatic. So I don't know exactly what the source of this argument is, or the anger, the bitterness, hostility, but Ben McRae is fired up down there. And I think they can use that too. You take that and you use it to rally your players, and you try to demonstrate to them that you are going to fight as well and have their back. So I don't know if he thinks that Cienega was running the score up maybe to some degree, 31-0 at halftime. Maybe he was calling out Cienega for thinking they had the game in the bag early. The coaches left pretty early in the second half. That might be part of it, but who knows, Jacob?
I think the way that they were going at each other was something else than the score being ran. Because usually when the score being ran, the coach says something after the game. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't know. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
So here's a couple of quick tidbits here. Terrell Hayward with a hat trick. 17-yard touchdown run, 22-yard touchdown catch, 49-yard touchdown reception. And Luis Morales Jr., the 6-yard touchdown run, his first touchdown run of the season. And then the 2 touchdown passes, one to Hayward, well, it's both of them to Hayward, 22 and 49 yards, and one that should have been to Diego Ruby. So if Diego's goal is to make 12 touchdowns, it's still possible, but that was one he should have had tonight. Very positive on the whole. The Bobcats, especially in the first half, I think mentally they let up on the gas pedal a little bit, and they had some mental or psychological lapses where they weren't as focused as they could have or should have been in the second half. Those are really small criticisms, however. The Cats, a great performance here tonight on the whole. Many positives to look at. The coaching staff will always nitpick and look at all the negative things that they can improve upon, and that will also help the team to grow and develop on a day-to-day and a week-to-week basis.
So, you know, Luis Morales, still no interception.
Right.
I mean, some other things, the Matt Slattery punt they're going to look at.
Right.
The fumble that they had. Sunny side next week.
And no Thomas Webb, right? Yeah. That's one of the major pieces on your team. Vocal leader, leads by example, super athletic, running back, punter, defense at safety. He plays that hybrid safety linebacker in the box where he comes up and plays run support. So hopefully T. Webb can get better. So sending thoughts and prayers his way into his family. And he can get that homeopathic healing that he needs, whether it's acupuncture, Buddhism, or meditation, herbal remedies, herbal tea, some kind of liniment, Mr. Miyagi like doing his like hand work on Daniel-san. Who knows what it's going to be. Deep tissue massage tomorrow morning is scheduled, so we hope for a speedy recovery.